welcome to Pet Paul Vision channel. This channel is maintained by Professor Dr. Amalendu Chakravarti. As per demand and desire of the pet-loving people of society, this channel is launched for various aspects of pet care management. We feel proud to open such a channel to raise the voice for them. If you like our channel, please subscribe us. Now we introduce Dr. Amalendu Chakravarti, who was a former professor and dean of West Bengal University of Animal and Fishery Science. He is an eminent professor and pet practitioner in India. He has got academic excellence to the extent of PhD and DSc. He is a fellow of Eighth Society and recipient of Lifetime Achievement Award from National Pet Animal Society. After his retirement, at present he is only concerned with pet animal practice and book writing on pets.
Dear viewer, I am going to give an overview on dog feet. Now there is a saying by Hippocrates that let food be thy medicine. Actually, in order to sustain the life and to perform the various metabolic activities, we need food. And if the food is proper and balanced, we need not to go for any supplementation. Before I go to the subject proper, I have to say that dog requires protein, carbohydrate, fat, we call proximate principles. Along with that, it also required vitamins and minerals. So let me tell you what the difference between the food habit of man and the dog. Can we maintain dog and the man in the same ratio of diet or in the same plan of diets or not? We'll have to understand the physiology of dogs' digestion. You know, whatever substance the dog used to eat, the digestion takes place through various enzymes which are located in the gastrointestinal tract, starting from mouth, saliva, up to the small intestine, even with pancreas and others. And therefore digestive, here the digestion is enzymatic. But if you consider the herbivores, where the cellulose is the main things, or grass is the main thing, they go for cellulolytic digestion or microbial digestion. Actually, if you go to trace the history of dog descended from wolf, and therefore wolf used to go for prey. But here when you have domesticated the dog, he is not getting any prey, therefore you have to supply flesh. Flesh in the form of either fish or meat. Meat may be of any category, starting from beef up to the chicken, whatever is available or affordable, you can provide to your dog. Now I am telling you the difference of nutritional aspect of dog and man. The need of calcium of dog is about 12 times more than man. The need of vitamin A is 2.5 times more than man. Need of vitamin D is 5 times more than man. And need of vitamin B complex is around 12 times more than man. Therefore, we could get an overview that we cannot maintain the dog and the man in the same type of diet or same concentration of diet. There is some variation in it. Now let me go for protein. Protein is the principal food of the dog. And protein means, protein may be in the form of meat or fish, whatever it may be. But there is a concept, or many people say that fish has not to be given, but there is no rationality behind it. We can offer both fish and the meat, both are flesh. Dog needs 5 grams of protein per kg body weight. And when there is a pup needs little more, or we can say double the amount. Or when the lactating bitch, the amount is also more. Right? In a nutshell, if you take 100 grams of feed, protein should be at least to the extent of 20 to 22 grams. In any animal or human being, protein is the building block. Through protein, the various essential materials like tissue, enzymes, hormones, and various secretions are being derived out of protein. Protein is nothing but number of amino acids, of which some are essential, we call essential amino acids, and some are non-essential amino acids. Essential amino acids are those which are absolutely required, and non-essential means where the essential amino acids you cannot get it from outside, it has to be supplied, provided. Now thing is this, I've already told that around 20 to 22 grams of protein is required. That means 100 grams of food should contain at least 20 to 22 grams of protein. One thing one should remember, that dog cannot synthesize protein out of non-protein sources. Here the non-protein sources are carbohydrate or fat. That means it cannot synthesize protein or amino acids out of fat or carbohydrate. Therefore, protein has to be supplied. Protein has to be supplied. Without protein, dog cannot live. But again the question comes, how much protein I should go? The amount I have already described, that should be the minimum. But depending on the physical status of the animal, one has to regulate the supplementation of protein. If the animal is suffering from some renal insufficiency or kidney problem, in that cases, protein has to be limited. Amount of protein has to be limited. But otherwise, in healthy animal, we can go for excess protein also to some extent. But in case of renal problem, we should restrict protein as much as possible. Right? Therefore, main thing is this: animal when healthy, requirement of protein will be different, and when the animal is sick, especially having kidney problem or renal inefficiency or renal insufficiency, in that cases protein level has to be minimized according to the doctor's prescription. Now I go for the carbohydrate. One thing I tell you, carbohydrate is not that much essential in case of dog. But generally 40 to 60% of out of 100 gram, 40 to 60% sometimes we give carbohydrate. But one should remember that the canine family, if you consider tiger, if you consider wolf, if you consider your lion or any canine or feline family, they live on flesh, they live on prey, they are not being supplied with carbohydrate, or nobody can supply rice to a tiger. And therefore, where from they get the carbohydrate? Is the question. They derive the carbohydrate out of protein. They have got that capacity. We call new glucogenesis. That means out of fat or out of protein, they can synthesize carbohydrate. That is the important thing. That's why a dog may live without carbohydrate, because it can utilize protein and fat in absence of carbohydrate, right? It's a very unique property. That's why sometimes I used to say, advise to the clients that you need not give much carbohydrate. Again, I tell you one thing, if you give the carbohydrate in a coarse form, right, the problem will be less. A problem will be less. If it is a grind or crushed one, right? If the rice is crushed or your gram is crushed or wheat is crushed, problem is little less. But if it is fine polished, in that case the problem will be more. That's why sometimes I used to tell to the owner or the pet owner that please minimize the use of providing biscuit. Why? Biscuit will give you the very fine molecule of carbohydrate. That will induce more and more acids, and the resultant effect will be vomition of the dog. Right? So this is, one should discourage this thing. But it is going on, but it has to be discouraged. Now I am telling about the requirement of fat in dog. The requirement is 5 gram per 100 gram of feed. If there is 100 gram of feed, at least 5 gram fat has to be provided. One thing, fat has to be provided because it is mandatory. Dog cannot synthesize fat. Therefore it has to be supplemented. And fat is required for growth, healthy skin. The glossiness of the skin depends on the fat. At the same time, fat is important for prostaglandin production, which is important in relation to reproduction. And the most important fat or fatty acids are linoleic acid, and arachidonic acids. Right? These are important fatty acids. Now I deal with another component, that is salt. About salt there are some myths, and there are some preoccupied idea and thoughts from time immemorial that dogs should not be provided with salt. So most of the owners or most of your seller or breeder, whatever you call, or owner, they do not provide salt in the diet of the dog. Now the question comes whether it is scientifically true or we are creating or inviting some problem in dog by denying salt to them. to my opinion, or not to my opinion, the scientific statement should be dog should be provided with salt, provided the dog is domesticated. If the dog is domesticated, you provide salt. If the dog is not domesticated in the wildlife, like wolves, you may not provide salt. Why? The question is this: when a dog in their wilderness is to grip the prey or eat the prey or kill the prey, in that case a lot of blood is there along with the prey, matted with the prey, right? Right? Or if you give raw meat to a dog having blood without washing it, you need not provide salt, because salt is being supplemented through the raw blood, right? But when you are washing the meat fully and deleting all the components of blood and other things, juices, so salt is also deleted. Therefore, this animal is not getting any salt. And you are also not supplementing any salt to the diet. Therefore, you are doing some problem to your dog. Right? If you give raw meat, just like a tiger in the zoo, or in Western countries I have seen they are giving raw beef. If you give raw beef or raw materials, raw fish, raw meat, mingled with blood, you may not provide any salt, because that will be taken care of the blood. But when you are washing the meat and then providing to the dog, in that case one has to provide salt. Again the question comes, how long should I go for salt? Just like human being, what we say to the doctor used to say, or physician used to say, after attainment of certain ages like 50 or 55 or 60, please restrict salt. Or don't take salt raw. Right? Don't take any raw salt. Similar to that, we can also provide salt to the dog. We can provide salt to dog up to the age of 5 years, considering the average age of 10. Up to 5 years you can provide salt, if possible your Tata salt, where the salt is less, you can provide it. And the rational approach would be, you just measure the sodium and potassium level of the blood periodically, sodium and potassium level of the blood periodically, accordingly adjust your salt components. Right? So therefore, salt should not be given to a dog. This maxim has to be removed, or this impression has to be removed from the mind of the owner, if they want to keep their dog free from certain diseases. Most important disease, if you do not provide salt, would be problem of the kidney, renal insufficiency, kidney disease, chronic kidney disease, CKD, is a problem. And we are getting a lot of kidney disease problem, right? Why? Because filtration of kidney is not being there due to salt. We are not giving salt. And if you don't give salt, diuresis will be less. For diuresis, salt is required. And therefore, from the boyhood, that means from the puppyhood, up to the old age, if you do not provide any salt, that flow is likely to suffer from kidney problem. So that's why salt has gotten important. Nature has provided all these things because some salt we are getting out of the flesh, out of the vegetables, out of the various components. But sometimes it may not be sufficient. We may have to supplement some salt. But rational approach would be when your dog has attained the age of 4 or 5 years, you measure the sodium and potassium level. If you measure the sodium and potassium level, accordingly you can adjust your salt component. Sodium is needed for diuresis and potassium is needed for many aspects. Hypokalemia is a problem. Mostly I tell you, the muscles of the heart, muscles of the leg, muscles of the body, these becomes weak. Muscle weakness, muscular weakness is one of the important signs of hypokalemia or deficiency of potassium. Hyponatremia seldom occurs. Hyponatremia may occur if you do not provide. In that cases, your dog may suffer from renal azotemia or uremia and ultimately fatal. Right? So my suggestion would be you provide salt judiciously. Right? You provide salt judiciously depending on the nature of food you are providing to your dog. Right? This will be the rational approach in relation to sodium and potassium supplementation in dog. The nutrition of dog is a very vast and elaborate subject. It is not possible to tell everything in one shot. I have narrated about protein, fat, carbohydrate, flesh, meat, etc., etc. Now I am trying to give you the idea how much protein or how much feed you should keep to your animal. The feed content would be according to the body weight of the animal. If the body weight is 2.5 kg, the feed will be about 250 gram. If it is 5 kg, it will be around 450 gram. If it is 10 kg, it should be around 650 gram. If it is 15 kg, it should be around 900 gram. If it is 20 kg, it should be 1 kg, 10 gram. And if it is 30 kg, 1.5 kg. And accordingly, the amount will vary with the advancement of age. I tell you, this requirement which I am mentioning, it may not be same for all. Depending on the health status, depending on the other aspect of the animal, one may minimize or one may increase or decrease the food level. Now I am going to state about water requirement in dog. If water requirement will be 20 ml of for each kg body weight, 20 ml for each kg body weight. If it is 15 kg, it will be around 355 ml. If it is 25 kg, it will be around 709 ml. And if it is 35 kg, it will be 1093 ml. And if it is 45 kg, it will be 1448 ml. Here also I am telling you, depending on the status of the health, depending on the other criteria of the animal, it may vary. One, it will be the discretion of the physician. So far the diet and the food and the water, it should be at the hand of the physician. Physician is the main judge to provide the food and water to the animal. In a nutshell, I want to emphasize upon that protein is the main component of the diet of dog, right? So we should try to provide or supplement dog as much protein as possible according to its commensurating its age, health and the body condition. Now I am telling about some consideration about the feeding processes. Number one, dog should be given its food in a particular room and at the same time in a particular place. And the bowl should be raised to the level where it has got the access to take the food. And the bowl should be made of either brass or it may be metallic or stainless steel or ceramic, right? And there should be two sets of bowl. One set will be used and again other set will be used up subsequently, right? And at the same time, it should be cleaned properly and leftover food should not be given to the dog. Whatever it has eaten and what is residual is there, that residue has not to be given to the dog. And the bowl has to be cleaned properly with warm water and the other detergents as required. And the room should be noise free. And the person who is giving food, it will be better if the identical person used to give the food to the dog. If somebody else gives, so then some question may arise in the mind of the dog, whether he is giving the proper food or not. And therefore the man who is looking after the dog, that identical man should provide the food to the dog. Right? This is very important. These aspects are also to taken into consideration while you go for providing nutrition to the dog. If you want to have further knowledge about the dog keeping, you can consult my book written in Bengali and English, question answer book on dog or Prashnottare Kukurke Jana. This book will provide information in the manner of question and answer, and which may benefit you.
Our video today? If yes, like, share and comment. Also subscribe our channel. We will be coming soon with a new interesting video very soon.